Good morning. I'm going to call today's hearing to order at 9, at 9:34, and then we're going to take about a 10-minute recess because there's a host of documents we just received. So we need to be able to review those documents, if that's okay with members of the hearing board. All right, so we're going to call the meeting. All right, we're on the record. We're going to call today's hearing to order at 9:35 a.m. And we're going to quickly take about a 10-minute recess to review the documents that we just received within the past 30 plus minutes as we were driving in, as it were. So we'll come back in 10 minutes. We're off the record.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on one second. We're back on the record. Go ahead.
I'd like to ensure that no one has an objection to my appearance today. I was not here for the interim variance, although I have reviewed the documents. I am familiar with the case.
Any objections on either side?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Also, Mr. Chair, this is Board Member Verdugo Peralta. Did you want to vote on?
No, we'll come back and take care of that
Okay.
after we review the documents. It's
Great.
all good. We got
Okay.
you covered. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Come
you.
back at 9:46. Off the record. Come on back home. All right, Ms. Verdugo Peralta, Dr. Abraham,
Yep, we're here.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta. Waiting on Ms. Verdugo Peralta. She's. All right. Okay, we're back on the record at 9:43 a.m. Before we move any further, I did want to reference the fact that two members of the hearing board are participating remotely. One member is participating from a location that's listed on the agenda. I believe that location was posted pursuant to the Brown Act, my good friend, Dr. Abraham.
Correct.
Is anyone present in the room?
No.
Okay, thank you very kindly. Ms. Verdugo Peralta is participating under AB 2449. And so at this time, I would like to lay a motion on the floor to consider Ms. Verdugo Peralta's request to participate remotely pursuant to AB 2449 due to emergency circumstances. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Conacher Macklin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Abraham. Any further question or discussion on this motion? Hear none. Dr. Abraham? Your vote?
Aye.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta?
Aye.
Mr. Balakapalan?
Aye.
Ms. Conacher Macklin?
Aye.
And Ali votes in the affirmative. Matters hereby approved unanimously. You can indeed participate, Ms. Verdugo Peralta.
Thank you.
For the record, an item was removed from calendar and rescheduled, which was a short, removed from calendar several week or so, maybe a week or two past, for Domino Cardoon, DBA World Oil Recycling, case number 5753-7. Again, that matter has been removed from the calendar. Today, we have a hearing scheduled, case number 6274-1. Pronounce that? Pronounce the company? I just want to make sure I have it correct.
Marishon?
Marishon, all right. I did have it correct in my head, all right. Regular variance relative to rules 203 and 2004. Madam Clerk, just for the record, has any individual sought recognition to provide evidentiary testimony and/or general public comment via Zoom? Okay, let the record also reflect that no one has sought recognition before the authority to provide any evidentiary testimony or general public comment. There are several exhibits. These exhibits we will call at this time. Petitioner's exhibits, proposed variance conditions, that's Exhibit 1. Petitioner's timeline exhibit for regular variance, Exhibit 2. The respondent's exhibit, proposed regular variance conditions, Exhibit B, red line revised proposed variance conditions, Exhibit C. What, are we good, Madam Clerk?
Just their timeline.
Okay, so it's not the proposed,
Yeah, I think they're just,
Those are the same. We
Okay.
just wanted to make sure they kind of cross paths.
Okay,
They're
so-
electronically, and then we submitted them. in
no
paper
problem. So
to
just
make
for the
sure.
record, then we're gonna categorize that as Exhibit 1. Is that correct? Okay. So the timeline will now be Exhibit 1. No proposed. Okay, proposed variance conditions, that which was Exhibit 1 is now Exhibit 0. There's no exhibit at all. All right. Timeline exhibit again for variance condition is now Exhibit 1. No problem. Who do we have representing the petitioner today?
Good morning, Timothy McElfish, spelled McElfish, on behalf of Marishon.
And who do we have representing the executive office?
John Jones on behalf of the executive officer.
Okay, how many witnesses are we looking to call today, Counselor?
We have two witnesses present for testimony if needed.
Mr. Jones?
We don't intend to call any. However, if the board needs some, we can have some brought down. We think under the circumstances that testimony may not be necessary.
Okay, all right. Then why don't we go ahead and administer the witness oath, if you both would stand. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that both of the gentlemen accepted the witness oath. All right, we'll move on to opening remarks, opening statements, opening arguments. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. For the reasons set forth in the petition and today's testimony, we believe that we'll provide and we submit that the facts support the board granting today's general variance petition. We submit that the board has sufficient facts and conclusions under the Health and Safety Code 4235-2 necessitate the granting of this variance petition. There's 6 factors that the board looks to in granting the petition. First is that petitioner is in violation of Health and Safety Code 41701. As we discussed, and what we will be asking for the board is to include the testimony that took place for the interim variance hearing, which we did establish the necessary factors. In relation to number 1, petitioner is or will be in violation of the conditions set forth for its permit number G70103, which is specifically referenced to Friar E, and permit number G70105, which is commonly referred to as Friar F, both being noodle fryers used in the production of Marichon's products. As set forth within the petition and the results of the July 15th, 2025 results, the results show that the short source test determined that petitioner is not in compliance with the respective permits. The second factor is due to the reasonable control of petitioner requiring compliance would result in arbitrary taking of property. As set forth in the petition, in this instant matter, the circumstances lead that the petitioner could not reasonably avoid a reasonable taking if this petition is not granted. To that end, the petition and the testimony that we are able to provide today during this general variance hearing, we believe that it is in favor of the fact that this petition should be granted. The next is the closing or taking would be without a corresponding benefit in reducing air contaminants. As set forth in the petition, closing the plants and lines, which essentially would be the result if this petition is not granted, would result in an unreasonable taking, and it would not be without a corresponding benefit to reduce the air contaminants. The fourth factor is that the applicant for the variance has given consideration to curtailing operations of the source in lieu of obtaining a variance. As set forth in the Exhibit B, we have worked with Mr. Jones in regards to coming up with proposed variance conditions that results in a daily reduction of what noodle dough throughput. And these calculations represent a 30% reduction in that in correlation to the permits for both Friars E and F. The fifth factor is during the period of the variance is in effect that applicant will reduce admissions to the maximum extent possible. We believe that the negotiated 30% reduction off the daily permit limits is sufficient. The sixth factor is during the period of the variance is in effect that the applicant will monitor or otherwise quantify emissions level from the source. As set forth in the conditions, which is essentially a carryover from the interim conditions that were granted by this board, that petitioner will be providing weekly updates as it has been during this interim period, which has been submitted weekly, and will continue to do that until the oil mist system is installed. The next is I just want to give kind of a brief update in regards to a few of the discussions that we had during the interim hearing. The first is that petitioner has been in compliance with the conditions that the board required during the interim variance period by submitting the required information. Next is that, as you'll see in the timeline, on August 26, 2025, petitioner submitted an expedited valuation request form that is a result of 2 source tests that in relation to Fryer E and Fryer F that shows that the fryers are in compliance, and what we're waiting on in regards to that is just the approval. So we're in a window period of time where we have a test that shows the accuracy and that it is in compliance, and we're just waiting. We did submit that during for a expedited review. The last issue in regards to updates in regards to the oil mist system is that petitioners continue to work diligently through its architects and engineers to get the city of Irvine to approve the building plans. And both the electrical engineers and the architectural engineers have been in contact with the city, and the stamp plan should be submitted sometime this week. For the reasons that I mentioned in any testimony that we provide, we submit and we request that this board grant the general variance petition. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the hearing board. We agree essentially with everything that's been said. I have one small correction, however, the permits. The Fryer E is permit ending 105 and Fryer F as in Frank is permit ending 103. That's reflected in Exhibit B, but just wanted that to be on the record. We took into account, after hearing several concerns raised by the board at the interim hearing, we had some very productive discussions. And as mentioned, we negotiated a 30% reduction in throughput for the period of the variance for both fryers, which we think should address the concerns that were raised. Like I said, they've been very cooperative. And I guess forthcoming in terms of coming up with, I think, a reasonable solution. And so if the board were to grant this variance, the executive officer would have no objection.
All right, so your first witness.
We'd like to submit the testimony from the interim hearing, and then if the board has any particular.
Love that. This is
Question?
beautiful. Absolutely. It works. All right. Yes, we're going to move and incorporate the testimony from the interim hearing. Is there any objections from any members of the hearing board to that? All right, are there any questions? Any questions of the hearing board relative to counselor and or his witnesses? Mr. Valakapalan.
Not for counsel, for the witness. So if you could introduce your witness, Mr. Winchester, again for the record, and then I have a few questions for him.
Yes. First witness is Bill Winchester from Montrose Environmental.
Okay. Mr. Winchester, the timeline showed that the both fryers tests are in compliance. Are they both for VOC and PM or?
For all pollutants, that's correct.
Pollutants? So was the test done at a reduced production rate, or was it at a normal production rate?
Well, it was done at what would be considered a normal production rate for what Maruchan is concerned with in terms of making their product. I think that if we look at the numerical values, they're on par with the 2021 test, so they're lower than what we saw during the 2025 testing, the April testing.
Okay. As you know, one of the findings is you have to be in violation of a rule. So if both the fryers came for the interim because the fryers were not in compliance at that time, but if they are, and I know it's pending the outcome, then do you need a variance
Yeah, our feeling on this is we do need the variance until, at which point the AQMD can certify the test results. I don't think we have a question of whether or not they will. It's a matter of time. But if we only need the variance for a week, then we only need it for a week, but we still believe that we need it until the board or the air district makes that finding.
So it's, so you're requesting the variance for, because they didn't have a set period of time exactly when you need the variance.
Correct. I think that the inference here is that if the results come back and they're validated by AQMD, then we no longer need the variance and we can end the variance at that point. If for some reason the AQMD does not find that the results are passing results, then we would continue with the variance until which point we had the mist control system and could do that test.
Okay, let's take the first scenario first, that the AQMD within a month or whatever, you've requested expedited review, right? So
Correct.
within a month or two, they come back and say you are in compliance, then you would notify the clerk saying that you no longer need the variance and ask for the termination of the variance, basically.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's sort of clear cut. In the second scenario, if there was some problem with the test or whatever, and you need the variance to continue, how long, what is the end date for that variance request?
So for right now, I think it's condition number 3 of the proposed variance conditions talks about having the construction of the oil mist system installed no later than July 18th. It does not talk about how long after that we would have to test and ultimately validate those test results.
Right.
Given the progress that's being made, I don't believe that we will have to go through July 18th of 2026 to install the oil mist system. But do we think that we can be in the variance by then?
Yes, that's the plan, is to keep pushing that July 18th, 2026 date is put in there because that's when the permit expires for the oil mist system with the AQMD. So, but the plan is to get it completed well before that timeline.
Right, okay. All right.
Yeah, the permit to construct has been extended through that date in 2026.
Right. The condition number 5 said 60 days from the installation of the operational oil mist, you do the test. So that's like, just in case that it goes that long, so that there's some, you're asking one hand, to put in the construction no later than July 18, and then 60 days after they do the test. So I would propose, it looks like you're expecting it to be done much sooner, getting approval from the city and so forth, and doing all the tests and everything complete. So I would make a suggestion that we, or at least our proposed condition saying to extend the variance until August 12th, so keeping it below, under a year, so you don't have to do incremental progress if it's more than a year. And so, and if you cannot meet that, then you need to apply for an extension or, of the regular variance or whatever.
Okay.
Now, let me, I don't know whether we need to put some condition to reflect, well, I guess maybe not, that you have achieved compliance if sooner, if the results of the test comes back, you will notify the district, once you get the results, and that will end the compliance. Whether we need to reflect that in this condition or not, or anyway, I'll leave that for whether we need to do that. But let me ask a question on the proposed variance condition. I know, Attorney mentioned you have proposed a 30% reduction in production rate now with the Fry E going to about roughly 67 tons per day, and Fry F at 59.5. So those are the reduced reduction rates, correct?
Correct.
30% reduction. But the previous variance had some limits when excess emission would be enabled. So that will still stay the same.
That's
We don't
correct.
need to reflect that because that will be, that's something that you have to keep track of, correct?
Correct.
And report any excess emission during the period.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, so I think that's, I just had one question. Maybe it's not for you. It's for Mr.
Jose Vasquez.
Yeah, Jose
from Jeff
Vasquez, if you
Marchand.
can just introduce him for a
Yes.
sec.
Yes, this is Jose
I'm
Vasquez.
sorry, before I go, I don't know, before I go to the next business, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, if he had any questions.
No questions from the district.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, then can I proceed to the?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez,
Morning.
I know, so you're saying you're submitting all the plans and everything, for approval to the city by this week, or?
Correct.
And what, in your discussion with them, what kind of time frame did they give for approval, and what seemed to be the holdup essentially?
Well, the holdup before was we were renovating that side of the building, so we needed an electrical engineer and a civil engineer to upgrade all the prints for the city to review, to include all the electrical that we had installed in that side of the building. So the electrical engineer, the civil engineer passed on everything to the architect, and that was completed last week. Now it's in the hands of Ship and Shore, and they're submitting for the permit this week. The next step after that, I requested from the city to meet with them a week from the day that the plans are submitted, to review them and see if we can get some kind of status.
Okay, and then they haven't, so you don't know the status yet until you meet with them?
Correct. It hasn't been submitted yet.
Submitted yet.
Yeah.
What about the equipment for the control equipment? Is that already on site?
No, the equipment is not on site. The equipment, because we cannot bring the equipment into our property without the city giving us approval.
Okay, so that's been ordered. It's so once you got the approval, how long will it take for you to get the equipment on site and install?
It should be within the equipment is here in California and it's completed. So once we get the approval from the city, immediately we're moving the equipment into our facility. And our estimates are within 2 weeks of delivery, we can start installation.
And tuning it and so forth. Okay.
Yeah, there's two parts to the installation, because the equipment, part of it goes on top of the roof and the other one is on the floor, on the ground floor. So the plan is to start building everything that's going on the floor, on the side of the walls of our building, and then make only on top is the connection between the exhaust lines, the ducts into the mist system. So it's a very simple step.
But you're still committed to installing a control system, even though your test showed you have passed. You're
Correct.
still moving forward to adding a control system.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all. I had no further questions.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, is your last name, is it Vasquez or Velasquez?
Velasquez, V as in Victor, ELAZ as in Zebra, QUEZ.
I always feel that the correct pronunciation of someone's last name is very much a sign of respect. So I wanted to make sure it was on the record that it is Velasquez. Okay,
Thank
that
you.
being said, my concern continues to be the permit that you submitted to the city. There's no guarantee. You have not received any verbal or in writing guarantee how long it's going to take them to go through their process and submit, after you submit, and then when that approval date will be. Is that correct?
So the permit, we've been at it with the city for over a year, going back and forth, things that they were missing, things that they wanted additional information.
Mhm.
The expectation is that since we've been working with the same planner, the same engineer,
Mhm.
that he's familiar with those plans, that once everything is submitted, the turnaround should be fairly quick. The architect and the electrical engineer and the civil engineer have been in contact with the city for the last 4 weeks, back and forth, to ensure that the package we put together for them won't be rejected.
But have they said to you their estimated date of when it would be approved?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's my concern. That's a variable that I would strongly suggest that you be a squeaky wheel because that seems to be what moves them sometimes. But knowing how the city building and safety departments work, they always prioritize building of whether it's residential or some other type of building that's going to be a tax revenue resource for them. So I would really emphasize that because you don't have any assurance and you're assuming that they're going to be approving you in a shorter time, that you continue to be a squeaky wheel and try and get a date from them, an estimated date, if anything at all, because they are what's going to really hold you up. And I'm very concerned about that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any
Did you-
additional questions?
I just wanted to know if Mr. Velazquez had a response to that.
Or was there a response?
I completely understand. Marshan, we're currently going through an expansion on one of our existing plants. We have specific contacts with the city that will help us expedite this matter. The only thing that was holding us back is that for this project, the Deer plant we didn't have the necessary architectural and electrical drawings for them to approve it.
When was that?
But I'm sorry.
When was that they told you you didn't have the proper architectural and other schematics?
If my mind serves correct, I want to say it was about 6 months ago.
Okay, and you've submitted them how long ago?
We're submitting them this week.
This week, see. I I would again emphasize that you really need to be on top of them and try to get them to truly expedite it for you as much as possible. Thank you.
I understand.
Mr. Valakapalan.
Yeah, I had a follow-up question for Mr. Winchester. Can I have you look at condition number 10 of the proposed variance condition?
Yes.
No, it indicates that final compliance will be achieved on the date the petition submit results of the initial source test. As indicated, even though you've done the source test, you're still waiting for final compliance. So just because you submit the source test doesn't mean you're in compliance, because the district can come back and say there was a problem with the source test,
So is the thought that we would craft this in a way that talks about the certification of the
by the
results?
district, approval by the district. That's when final compliance technically is achieved, in the similar manner. So I was suggest maybe, talk to your attorney about maybe instead of saying condition number 3, and maybe and of course discuss with Mr. Jones, instead of saying complete construction. I mean, it should complete condition 3, construction of the oil mist control system, including the testing and reporting, by August 12th, of 2026. Yeah, because the permit extension takes care of the July 18. So there's no need
Correct.
to re-emphasize that. You already have an extension.
Correct.
But the final compliance, if you're going to grant your variance, so crafting some language, that way it includes, the way it reads now, you got 60 days after that to do the testing, and, the timeline doesn't quite gel, that way. So I suggest maybe taking a few minutes to rewording the condition 3 and 10. So it reflects that final compliance is only when the district informs you after the source test is received,
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to move to closing. Counselor?
Thank you. Petitioner just respectfully requests that you grant this general variance hearing today based on the testimony and the documents that have submitted. And as Marishon continues to complete the oil mist system installation, it will work diligently into achieving that goal as set forth in the conditions. There is a requirement that it be completed. We'll work on the language in regards to the item 10 and item 3.
I'm sorry, may I clarify that? You need to submit that before we can make the motion.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all
Oh,
right.
yeah, I believe you're aware of that, correct?
Yes.
You're aware of
Yes.
making,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right.
So based on the testimony provided today and the testimony that was provided in the interim, we respectfully request that you grant this general variance petition.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. In terms of the, just to, I guess, address Board Member Balagapos' concern, the changes to number 3 and number 10 can be done fairly quickly. Substituting August 12th is easy. And for number 10, we would just substitute the date that the district certifies the results. Should cover that concern as well. But beyond that, we think that the 6 factors have been met, and if the board were to decide to grant this variance, the executive officer would not be opposed.
All right, so Mr. Balakapalan, you're suggesting
Yeah, and I think the petition is working on the proposed language change, so maybe you'll give them a few minutes and they can then submit or read to the record what those proposed changes are. And if Mr. Jones agrees, then, I can use that in my motion to
okay, so how much time would you need on the Marishon side?
5 minutes.
About 5 minutes.
Okay, so we'll go off the record and we'll come back. We'll give you 10 minutes. We'll come back in 10 minutes. We're off the record.
Thank you.
10:14.
Yes, I moved to South America, went to Argentina, Chile, and it was a wonderful trip. Nasty infection. For 2 months.
That's the joy of travel.
For sure. What about you?
Oh, no, my youngest son got married in Hawaii, so last month, so we wedding.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah. It's nice, very nice. So living.
That's one to me.
Yeah.
My son is going to.
Oh.
So- Maybe I'll go to grandchild will find 80.
Back on the record at 10:32 a.m. All right, we're back on the record at 10:32 a.m. We took a brief recess so that both parties could confer relative to revised proposed variance conditions. I'm happy to report that they have settled upon conditions for which the board will discuss and deliberate. All right, Mr. Balakapalan, the floor is yours.
Yes, I propose one minor edit to condition number 3.
Yes, this is
Oh,
going to
yes,
be,
yes.
we're marking this as exhibit. Can this replace B or is this a different? Oh, okay, so this would be exhibit C.
D, I think it's D.
D.
No.
I think
wait a
D's
minute.
D's the red
Be
line.
like a dog, I guess, would be the
Wait,
next.
hold on one second. Okay, so this,
C is the red line, so
Yeah.
that will be D as in
D.
David.
okay, you're right. This is D. We're 100% correct. Just wanted to make sure everybody was paying attention.
Yes.
And everybody is, have their coffee. All right, we're good. Okay, so this is exhibit D. Balakapalan, the floor is still yours.
Yeah, on condition number 3, I propose that we modify it, saying petitioner shall complete construction of automated control system under permit number, G70104, and testing and reporting as referenced in condition number 5, no later than, so that it would include testing and the reporting as referenced in condition number 5,
Any objections?
no later than August.
Any objections from members of the hearing board? Mr. Jones?
No objection from the district.
After, oil list control system.
Yeah. And testing and reporting as referenced in condition number 5.
Yes, the date is August 12th, 2026. 2026, so the date needs to be corrected. August, it says 2025, should be 2026.
Yes, very good, yeah.
All right, are we in agreement?
Yes.
All right, we have liftoff. Okay, Mr. Balakapalan, members of the hearing board, any deliberation?
Well, I think that I can go ahead and
Make the motion?
I'll make the finding first, and then I'll make the motion that I do believe I can make the 6 findings necessary to grant the regular variance. I know you kept calling it general variance, but we call it the regular variance. We don't have a general variance. It's either short or regular, so it's a regular variance. We'll grant the regular variance in this matter that currently we assume you're in violation of the PM and B limits in prior E and F pending the results of the district review. So that's why you're still requiring a variance, because you're still in violation. Otherwise, we cannot grant a variance. So that's the first finding, that you're still potentially still in violation of the condition of a permit condition to meet those PM limits. And non-compliance was beyond your control. The source test in the past, you have passed the source test, and it looks like you subsequently also have passed the source test. So whatever was wrong has been fixed. The closing of the harm to the petitioner will outweigh the benefit to air quality, if we deny the variance. So that's condition number 3. And the part that I think I brought this up in the interim, that you need to come up with some mitigation, and it looks like you proposed condition 1 and 2 that showing a 30% reduction in your production. So that's a mitigating, so you have given consideration of curtailing operations. So condition 1 and 2 in the revised proposed condition D reflects that. So that takes care of that. And also that there's also condition to monitor and report excess emissions. So excess emission, worst case, will be 7 pounds of PM a day, but depending on how much you do the production. So I do believe you do make all the 6 findings. At least I can make it. I can go ahead and if there's no other members making any general comments, I can go ahead and make the.
Yes, Ms. Verdugo Peralta has a question or comment.
It's
Deliberation.
mostly just a short comment. I wanted to commend them for trying to follow all of the individual steps that it takes to get to this point. And the fact that they had a 30% reduction on the throughput, I think was commendable, considering. But I also am concerned about the PM limits. So, but other than that, I do feel that they have made the 6 findings. I agree with Mr. Balagopalan's comments, and especially the change. So I'm in favor of also granting them this regular variance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No problem, Mr. Balakapalan. Why don't you go ahead and proffer the motion?
Okay, in the matter of Maruchan Inc., case number 6274-1, I move that we grant a regular variance commencing today and continuing through August 12, 2026 from rules 203B, 2012, to 203B, 2004 F1, and condition E 193 and 93.1 and 1 E 193.2 from section D of the reclaim permit to operate, 14049 for the equipment that is listed as noodle fryer ED device D44, noodle fryer FD45. I'm going to include the oil mist control system because that's referenced in the condition also, and C60, from those 3 pieces of equipment. And the conditions are as laid in the revised proposed variance condition exhibit D. And the equipment is located at 1902 Deer Avenue, Irvine, California. Excess emissions in the could be as high as 7 pounds of PM. But it's not anticipated because they're keeping their production, taking a limit on the production. But in case if there's they go beyond that will be the excess emission. And they will pay all the fees as set forth in the condition on the permit. However, I just want to indicate that while this is the conditions for the variance and so forth, but if petitioner achieves compliance sooner, they will notify the clerk that they no longer will need this variance because they've achieved compliance.
Is there a second? Ms.
Second,
Diaz?
second.
Oh, say that again?
Ms. Diaz stated that condition 10 was changed, so you may
Yes,
want to
uh-huh.
reference, you said 10, so you may want to reference.
Yeah, 10 was changed. I mean, so whatever the
Here is fine.
in the D, yeah, in the final one, the D reflects that change.
Are we good on the notes, Ms. Diaz? Okay. Ms. Verdugo proud to second the motion. Any further question or discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Dr. Abraham?
Aye.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta?
Aye.
Mr. Balakapalan?
Aye.
Ms. Conacher Macklin? Ali votes in the affirmative. The matter is hereby approved unanimously. Thank you very kindly for your time this morning. We're off the record and adjourned at 10:40 a.m.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.